Okay, y'all, so my lighting is so bad, but I really wanted to make this video because basically I've been using the study timer, which I love. Let me turn on the brightness. Ooh. Okay. Oh, an ad. This is what I'm about to talk about. Okay, let me close the ad. But basically, the study timer I've been using, they have just went crazy with the ads, and I cannot stand it. Like, okay, there's a cute little bunny, and it's studying, and I might have to show this better later on. But anyway, let's say I go up, like, oh, I want to go check the time. And then I go back, ad. It's insane. Like, I'm getting so annoyed. So I'm like, you know what? It's just a timer. I can build this myself and then add the features I like. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Okay, y'all, let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new project. And we are going to call this project StudyBuddy because we are going to create our StudyBuddy. I'm using PyCharm. That's where I'm going to be writing my code for this tutorial. And let's create. PyCharm is going to do its magic, create all its great folders. Great. Okay, so now let's go to StudyBuddy. I'm just control clicking and we're going to create a new Python file and let's call it StudyBuddy. Ooh, not me. Not spelling it. Okay, just controlled click again. Let's refactor, rename, and let's spell it correctly. Okay, great. So let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to import Tkinter as TK. And basically, we're going to use Tkinter to create our GUI. It has a lot of great stuff for like working with GUIs and all that stuff. So, yes. Okay, so then let's actually create kind of like a skeleton of what we're going to be working on in this tutorial. So we're going to have a class, and it's going to be called StudyBuddy. And inside this, we're going to have our init function. We're going to handle a lot of the setup here. So what we want to do is, let's talk about all the different widgets that we're going to need. So for example, we're going to have the slider. I feel like that's one of the most important things. And it's basically going to be like, how long do we want to study? And we can also have a label, which will handle the instructions on screen of how to use StudyBuddy. Okay, we're going to have the slider. We're also going to have a start button, which will start the timer. And then also what we're going to do is we have to display how much time we have left. So we're going to have countdown text, which displays that. So then I mentioned a start button to start the timer. We're going to have a couple of functions. So the first one we're going to work on is actually start. We could call it start timer. And I'm just going to put pass for now. We'll work on what it does. But this is going to actually, it's like the start button. It's going to start the timer. And then later what we're going to do is going to have another one called update timer. Let me just write that out here. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to keep updating the time and keep updating the time that's displayed on the screen as well. So for example, we're going to have a variable and it's going to represent our time left in seconds. So we're going to work with seconds with this just because, we're going to keep decreasing our time by seconds. So for example, if we're at 25 minutes, then it's going to be 24:59, 24:58. We need to keep track of the seconds to display that on the screen. So yeah, we're going to have our time left in seconds. And, what we're also going to do is there's going to be some conversions, converting from seconds to minutes and seconds and, back and forth and things like that just to correctly display what we need. But I think that's good enough for kind of like an outline of what we're going to do. Let's actually call StudyBuddy. So let's set this up. If name is equal to main, what we're going to do is let's create our GUI. So we're going to create our main app window and we're going to call it root. Beautiful. And then what we can do is we can actually call StudyBuddy, and let's actually pass in root because we're going to be working with roots a lot in this. So let me put comma root. Okay, and then what we're going to do next is called the Tkinter event loop. It is the heartbeat of our application. And what I mean by that is you need this line whenever you're working with Tkinter applications. Basically, this is listening for different events, like maybe you type something in or you click on a button and then it moves accordingly based on what you're doing. So you need this. If you didn't have this, your application will just open and close. So yes, we have that. That is looking great. Okay, now let's actually work on StudyBuddy. Okay, so now we're going to use root throughout this class. So let's say so. And then what we can do is let's actually add a title to our window and actually look at and see what our window is doing. Invalid Python interpreter selected for this project. Yee. Hopefully that does not affect us. But okay, so then self.roots.title, let's call this StudyBuddy. Now let's actually run our code and let me put a space so that little line goes away. Yay, StudyBuddy. Great, this is what we have so far. Okay, so now let's create our variable. So let's call it time left in seconds. Time left in seconds is equal to 0. You know, our timer starts off as 0. Now let's go into these widgets. So instructions, how to use StudyBuddy. So we can use self.instructions as the name is equal to tk.label widget alert, boom, 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 boom. And let's pass in roots. And then what we can do is add text. So the text for our instructions is, we want to say how to use the slider. So we can say, how long do you want to study? Nice. So then let's actually pack that on the screen. Self.instructions.pack. I already know I'm going to want some padding because I hate when things are so like squished. Great. How long do you want to study? And what pack does is it helps us to put it on the screen. And pack is really smart, like the behind the scenes geometry that's doing. But you're going to see us create a widget and then pack it on the screen a lot. So now let's work on the slider. We can call it slider. And we can use tk.scale to help us. And also root. Okay, so then on the slider, I'm trying to think how we want to do it. We can say the orientation of it. So the orient, let's make it to be horizontal. That's the same way that that app had it. And then we can also say like we want our slider to go from this number to this number. So from, we can start with 1, a 1 minute timer, why not? And then 2, let's do like 2 hours. So that's 120, so yeah. 60 times 2, 120, 120 minutes, boom. Okay, so I'm liking that so far. So let's pack it. Okay, let's add some padding. Why not? Y direction, so above and below. And then we can also set the time on the slider. So for example, if we run our code right now, ooh, okay, I was like, I don't see no slider. Okay, I don't like the length of this. It's very small. So let's update the length. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, way better. Looking good. And then, yeah, let me run that again. Yeah, so it starts off as 1. I kind of want it to start off at like maybe 25. That's usually how long like I study. So let's have a default. So self.slider.pack, not pack, set. And we can set it for 25. You're going to see me, I run my code a lot because I have trust issues. And I want to make sure it's working right. Okay, so that's good. Now the start button, let's do it. Widget, self dot, we can call it start button is equal to tk.button, thank you. And root, pass it in, that's where we want it, and then we can have some text on it. Text is equal to start timer, the button text, and then we can have a command. The function we want to call is this one right here. So we can do self.startTimer. Beautiful. Okay, nice. And then what we can do is pack it. Self.startButton.pack. Beautiful. Let's add some padding. That's just kind of my default. Beautiful. Start timer. And then we're also going to have the countdown that's going to appear. So we do self.countdown. Text is equal to label is what we can use to help us. Roots. And then let's have the text start off as empty, and then we can use config later to help us set this new text. And let's pack it. We're not going to see anything right now, but we got to pack it. So I'm not going to run it. Okay, so now what we can do is let's work on start timer. So what we can do here, why is that mad? Too many blank lines. Okay, so we started the timer. We need to figure out what number the user put on the scale. So let's get that. Self.slider.get, and that's basically going to be, let's update our time left in seconds will be equal to that, except it's 25, which represents 25 minutes. Let's convert that to seconds. So we need to multiply by 60. Because, 60 seconds in a minute, boom. And let's also make sure that's an int. Great. And then what we're going to do is call self.updateTimer. Yay, we can delete pass because we actually wrote the code that we needed. I don't know why it doesn't like those spaces. Okay, so this logic is a little interesting. So there's two different cases. So let's say if self.time left in seconds is greater than 0, or if it's actually at 0. And then let's delete this pass. So if time left in seconds is greater than 0, what we need to do is we need to decrease time. Because what update timer works is like 10, 9, 8, 7. It's doing that math. So let's do that here. We can subtract 1 because, a second has passed. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep calling update timer because we want to keep subtracting that second. So we can use self.root.after. What we're going to do is after 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second, what we want to do is call self.updateTimer. Beautiful. But before that, we need to actually display it on the screen. So we need to convert our time left in seconds to minutes and seconds in order to display that on the screen. So we have minutes and seconds is equal to, we can actually use div mod to help us. Div mod. And what we can do is take time left in seconds and we can divide it by 60. So it takes in, as you can see, two things right here. Because, before we multiplied, now to do the reverse, we're going to divide. And basically, like that answer we get when we do the division and also the remainder is going to give us minutes and seconds. So now let's format that on like how we want that to appear on the screen. Time formatted is equal to, we can use F to help us format this. We're going to have minutes here. Then we can have a colon, and then we can have seconds appear on the screen. And then you're going to see me do something here, 0 to D, because that is how I want it to appear on the screen. Like, this should be a digit, and this 02 part, it's like, if I have 5 minutes and 9 seconds left, I don't want it to appear like 59. I want 0509. So the 02 like this helps us format that. Hopefully I wrote this correctly. If not, we'll fix this. So we have time formatted. Now let's actually have this be on the screen. So we have the countdown text here. It'll be self.countdowntext.config, and let's update this text to be our time formatted. Great. And then, we're going to subtract a second. We're going to keep calling update timer, and that's time left in seconds and greater than 0. So now let's say time left in seconds is equal to 0. What we want to do is actually display 0, 0, 0, 0 on the screen. So let's use this. Ooh, ooh. Actually, let's keep that text. And then it'll be 0, 0, 0, 0. And then let's have a message box appear on the screen that we can use show info, and we can be like, yay, you did that, congrats. Something like that. You can change that. Oh, let's import that. Let's see if it can help us. Great. Yeah, so we have the title and the message. Okay, and I think that's what I want to work on today. I don't want this video to be too long because we're going to have multiple parts and add different things to our StudyBuddy. Like I want us to add a character. I can even write a little bit of the skeleton code here. We're going to have something like pause timer. Let's pass in self. We'll just pass it for now. We're going to have another thing that's like reset timer. We're going to have music where it's like, okay, your timer stopped. Let's play a sound just in case you're not looking at it. And we'll do that all in future videos. But let's see if we have any errors. So let's stop. Let's play. Okay, how long do you want to study? Let's make that full screen. Let's say I want to study a minute. Oh, that's small. We're going to make that bigger because that's so cute. To make that bigger, we would have to count down text here. We would have to use, I believe it's called font. Yep, font. And then we can make it like Arial, and then we can also make it like size like 48 or something. Arial. Let's see how this is doing. 21 seconds left. We can also change the color of this too. I'm not really liking the white. I kind of want it to pop, but I don't want to miss the timer. Okay. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yay! You did that. Congrats. Okay. Nice. So yeah, I just made some few changes here. Let's make the color, I think you can pass in a string, red. And yeah, I want to make it a little bigger. Make this full screen. There we go. I'm like, oh, it was so small. I mean, I probably won't make this full screen most of the time. It'll probably be at like this size or whatever. But yeah, this is the first part of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I have also created a full course. If you want your videos now and you want to make a Tkinter application from scratch and you like my style and how I explain things, definitely go check it out. And yeah, in the next video, we'll add to this timer. Thank you. Bye.